Oh yeah, it's about time. Quad sample. Glock Cerakote Gen 5. This one is not a VFC Glock, although they all look the same. But yes, this one, it is the long-awaited GHK Glock Gen 5. Yeah, finally, it's been too long. And right inside the box that you will get an actual user manual. Oh, the first thing I saw is the hop-up. We'll talk about it. All right, then, yeah, if you want to know more about the gun, read this user manual. This one is pretty nicely made, not very big. Comes with a speed loader. I'm not perfectly sure if this is just for us, but for the RMR plate, finally, this one it's got it. But I think for the RMR plates, you probably have to purchase it yourself. However, we got those for free. Last but not the least, yes, the Gen 5 patch. Not for sale. All right, goodbye box. That looks. If you got a Velcro service. Now, this is a Glock pouch. Move on to the next part, which a lot of people cared about, and it's one of my personal favorite features, the RMR mount. As we all know that WE and also VFC and SRC, they all came up with the RMR sights as well. However, one of my personal favorites is this one, the GHK Glock. That is because there is a lot of room for the screws to go in, and I will show you guys exactly what I mean. So first, let me take this apart. Always, when you work on the gun, take the magazine out. Now here comes the slide, and then remove the two little screws located on the top. Then I can remove the cap. There you go. And it shows this very interesting looking mechanism inside. However, this is one of the specialty that goes into the GHK system. That is because they have humongous room that goes into the slide for the air nozzle, in which there's a lot of room for the screws. If you can take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 screws for your RMR plates, which is awesome. So the way that you mount the RMR mount, it's actually pretty simple. You just put it on, and it comes with a little Allen key with 4 screws. See, this is what I call mount screw. Look at that. It is at least 1.5 centimeter, which is 15 millimeters, I think. That is long. And all you need to do is just, mount it onto the slide. Yeah, see, this is what I call secured. 4 really long screws that screws deep into the slide that leaves this area. And GHK, during the time when they worked on their RMR mounts, they actually machined out this big chunk of steel to really test out to see if the RMR would fall off in the middle of the game or something like that. And clearly, I think this one looked pretty damn promising. I'm gonna put the RMR on it. Okay, but sadly, with the plates, it doesn't come with the screws for your RMRs, since each RMR or like a DOC had their very own spec of screws. So you might need to find those by yourselves. However, I think the meat right here, it is actually thick enough for you to, let's say, if you have a different screw, maybe you can rework on the screw a little bit, see how it goes. All right, the Gen 5 with the RMR side, which I think it just looked absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, since this one, it is very, very secure. There's no way that it's gonna wobble or whatever. And yeah, it just stays on there. And the look is just absolutely fantastic. Now let's talk about the part I don't like. If you guys watched the really first Glock Gen 3 video that we filmed actually a long time ago, we're not big fans of the first hop-up. This time, GHK, I think they improved the hop-up chamber. Apparently, the redesigned version, let's say the Glock hop-up Gen 2, it's got this little hole right here that allows you to, reaching this Allen key into the adjustment hole. However, just, when you spin it, you have to pull it out and then tuck it in, find the hole again, and spin a little bit, and it's just really hard to tell what's going on. So instead, I think the best way to adjust it is actually just like the traditional Glock, that you take it apart. However, you kind of adjust it here with your hand. One extra step that you need to take the hop-up out. And yeah, it's much easier to adjust it this way, at least you get to see what's going on. And with the Allen key installed, I think based on what I see here, okay, counterclockwise to increase the hop-up and clockwise to decrease the hop-up. And the way it works, still, I think it's a pretty clever design. It's just not at the right place. This little screw right here, when you spin it, it actually moves this, this metal plate secured with another metal bar. And this plate, as you move it, it actually pushes the lever down that increases the hop-up. Which I think the overall mechanism is pretty smart, but just based on what I saw right now, this thing actually kind of tilts a little bit. Hiya, what happened? My God, the contact is all the way to the left. If you want it back, you can push this screw. Boing. It's back! It's okay. We got a solution to that. Okay, so after I spent quite some time playing with the hop-up, I think the hop-up, yes, it is a tricky hop-up to adjust. However, I think I got a hang of it. And here's a trick to adjust it. So once again, once you take it apart, you see that there's this little screw. And I would say, yes, the hop-up adjustment, it is pretty sensitive. So, when you do the adjustments, you don't want to spin all the way to the back and all the way to the front. And plus, I think for the most of lightweight BBs, this is plenty enough. Just right out of the box, this thing can lift up to 0.3 grams without adjusting the hop-up. So I would say if you really want to adjust it, just do like a half turn and something like that, or sometimes maybe just one turn. And the trick right here is you want to move this a little bit because this thing is actually slightly wobbly, and so you got to make sure that this arm is actually pushing the bucking okay. So I will move it a little bit to make sure that it is straight and look into the barrel to see that if the contact is straight. Once the contact is straight and this thing is adjusted, it actually functions pretty well. It just takes a bit of time. Okay, another thing is that since the GHK system, it doesn't have a hammer, it's a flicker. The advantage that adds on to the gun is that it's got an extremely smooth slide since there's literally nothing stopping the slide. So you can take a look. it's just smooth. See, now let me take it apart. You can see that the mechanism right here, the traditional Marui style, or let's say other VFC, SRC, or WE, they always have a hammer right here. However, this one, there's nothing. It's just simple. It's the flicker that's located inside the trigger. See? When I hit it, you see there's this little metal plate that rubs against this metal tube located here. And so by the time I press it until a moment that it releases, it actually flicks the valve knocker that hits the magazine valve that releases the gas. See, and this is the part when I said they did a pretty good job replicating the real Glock. It's that, you know, when you press on the trigger, normally we get a wall. However, this one, the wall is not super clear. It's kind of there and not there. Once you press it, it's like release, and eventually you get it. See, right here. Release. I really think that the GHK Glock 17 Gen 5, it is pretty ideal for, you know, let's say pistol training, especially if you have a real Glock and you don't want to waste that much ammo, because this is just my personal preference, but I really think that the trigger is quite similar to the real Glock. It's slightly better than the real Glock. Yeah, so once you got a hang of this gun that you can shoot pretty well with it, you move on to a real Glock. And by the time you come back to an airsoft high kappa, I bet you are the master. Okay, well, I think you guys might have some questions when it comes to compatibility. Let's start with the magazine. This one, what I have in my right hand, this one, it is the Gen 5 magazine, and this one, it is the Gen 3 magazine. I think based on the look and everything, the only difference, yeah, it's the base plate. This one has got a slight angle to it to, you know, just like the real Gen 5s. This one has got like an angle to it. Not sure if you can see it clearly, but that's a Gen 5 plate. And then yeah, that's a Gen 3, which I think both of them work. Yep, they work just fine. So compatibility wise, the only difference comes to the magazine is the base plate. And yeah, it seems like this one has got a little hole, like a little cut notch here. But besides that, I think both magazine works just fine. And since, oh, this one is the CO2 magazine, yes, this one, it does take the CO2 magazine as well. So if you have some CO2 magazines laying around at home that comes with the GHK Gen 3, it's gonna give you more kick. Now, let's talk about compatibility, since you guys might be wondering, because the Glock 17 Gen 5 doesn't have the full steel slide and also the barrel set yet, would it take the Gen 3? The question is yes and no. You know, let's go over the part that is different first. You see, the thing when it comes to hot chamber and also the barrels, the two are actually quite different. The Gen 3 and the Gen 5, it comes with different sizes. This one, it is a Gen 5 barrel. This is a Gen 3 barrel. If you look closely, the design on it and also the dimension, it's actually slightly different, in which the Gen 5, it is slightly shorter. The Gen 3, it is slightly longer. And also the recoil rod is quite different. This is a Gen 3 rod and that's a Gen 5 rod. So, you know, the design and also the dimension is quite different. So when you take a look at the slide, the Gen 3 had a much smaller hole and the Gen 5 had a much bigger hole. For Glock fans, obviously you know that. And so would it work with each other? Well, the answer is no. You see, the Gen 3 model, it's got a longer arm, in which for the Gen 5, it's way shorter. and also where you clip into the grip. The Gen 5 it is shorter, and the Gen 3 it is much longer. So yeah, the dimension on these two are quite different indeed. So would the slide work with each other? I think the Gen 3 slide, it would go down to a Gen 5 slide just fine, and it actually looked pretty darn nice. So if you want to make it work, probably one of the way I can think of is use the aluminum barrel and the Gen 5 hop-up set. Place it into your Gen 3 and use the recoil rod. However, the problem with the recoil rod is that it is, you see, there's this little bit of space in between. It's a little short. So if you can put it into the right place and slide it into the gun, yeah, it gives that little bit of wobble onto your gun. However, would the gun work? Ooh, kicks a lot. It kind of works. So that's the reason why I said yes and no, because it works, but it makes that wobbly sound. But if you can fix that wobbly sound and also like, you know, because of the recoil rod, then you might just as well enjoy the fun of that heavy recoil. Ooh. I really have to say, I really look forward to the full steel slide on the Gen 5. Really, this thing kicks like a mule. And yeah, with the improved trigger, I think in comparison to the old Gen 3, this one really works that much better. But yeah, I really, really enjoy the recoil. So much fun. Something I have to point out though, it is the surface treatment on the Glock Gen 5, in which I think they actually did a pretty good job on that. First of all, it is Cerakote, so you know when you try to scratch it, it's not gonna have the old problem from the Gen 3. You know, it actually leaves some marks. And I think the overall look, it actually gives that steel-like look to it. When you compare them, it's not like the traditional aluminum surface treatment, you know, just anodizing and it just looks like plastic. I think this one is actually got some decency. Now let's do some chrono tests. We got some 0.2 gram BBs loaded inside the magazine. And yeah, let's see how this gun performs. The maximum it is 102.9, the minimum it is 96.3. The overall average is 99.7. It is actually hotter than I'd expected. And when it comes to consistency, it seems it's going up and down slightly. But yeah, since this is, I would say this is one of the problems with the flicking trigger, is that if you pull the trigger harder, sometimes it gives you a more FPS output, and then if you pull it softer, the FPS might be slightly lower. So it really comes down to the control of your finger. All right, now let's do the accuracy test. However, this one, since it's got a heavier trigger pull, I would say, yeah, I'll test it with the vise. Well, it actually took us a little bit of time to, you know, really get it fully adjusted. The hop up, it is pretty tricky to adjust. But yes, we finally got it adjusted, and for the target over there, we are shooting at the target at the range of 20 meters with 0.3 gram BBs. And let's see how it goes. Right, let's do 10 shots. Fired in 3, 2, 1, go. I think I charged a little too much gas inside, and which causes the gun to, you know, have some like BB drops because there's simply too much gas coming out. So I would recommend charge 3 seconds into the magazine. And I think it's mentioned from our very old previous episode on the Gen 3. It's similar. All right, let's load again and test it again.
Bye, have a great time.
It's actually, once you got it adjusted, it's actually not bad. That's still some closer target shooting. Again, I have some 0.3 gram BBs loaded, and the RMR sight, it is 0. And yeah, we're just currently at the 5 meter range, and let's see how it goes. Guys, you ready? Okay, let's see. Nice. I will say that once you got it adjusted, it's actually not bad. Within the range like this, it's actually pretty accurate. So let's wrap it up. Make the conclusions. In conclusion, I have to say, this one, it is a very interesting package out of GHK. It brings a lot of memories because as we filmed this video, that we actually went back to our really old videos on the grading systems and see like what we did on the Gen 3. After such a long wait, the Gen 5 family comes, and we are still here filming, and which I'm pretty proud of the team. And hopefully that we get to move on and film more grading system videos and review videos for you guys. But long and short, yes, the GHK Glock Gen 5, I really like the overall look on it, and certainly the grip, because Gen 5 and the Gen 3, this one just feels that much better in the hands and really adds the cool look and the wonderful RMR design on this guy. That's it for the episode today. If you watch still here that you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, please make sure you do. And also, go check out our website. We have something very special going on. And talking about the heavy trigger and also the hop-up chamber, if you have a problem with that, we have a solution to that. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll see you very soon.